All right, we need to talk about a really serious warning from one of the most respected people in AI, Professor Stuart Russell. I mean, this is the guy who literally wrote the book on artificial intelligence, the textbook that everyone uses. And what he's saying right now, well, it could change everything.
I mean, just let this quote sink in for a second. He says the people building AI are, and I'm quoting here, playing Russian roulette with every human being on Earth without our permission. Wow, that's not just some random opinion. That's coming from the top expert in the field. It's an absolutely chilling thing to hear.
So, that brings us to the huge question we're going to try and unpack in this explainer. Why? Why on earth are the very people building this technology taking a gamble this big with all of our lives?
And this gets us to what you could call the billion-dollar paradox. It's this bizarre contradiction sitting right at the heart of the AI industry. You've got this frantic race to build something that even the creators are admitting, yeah, it might just destroy us all.
You know, the craziest part is, this isn't some big secret. The top AI leaders have openly signed statements putting the risk of AGI right up there with nuclear war and pandemics. And behind closed doors, they're talking about real, significant chances of human extinction. They actually feel trapped in this race because of pressure from investors. But get this, one of the top CEOs told Russell that a disaster on the scale of Chernobyl might be the best thing that could happen, just to get governments to finally step in and regulate. Think about that. The best-case scenario is a global catastrophe.
So what kind of chance are we talking about here? Well, this number is it's staggering. 25%. That's the probability of extinction from AI, according to Dario Amodei, the CEO of Anthropic, one of the biggest AI companies out there. This isn't some critic on the sidelines. This is a guy in the driver's seat.
And he's not alone. Back in May 2023, it became pretty clear what the experts think when hundreds of them, including CEOs of the biggest labs, all signed this statement. They're not holding back. They're saying artificial general intelligence is an extinction risk on the same level as nuclear war. You have to wonder, why isn't everyone listening?
Okay, so how do we even wrap our heads around a threat this big? For our second clue, we're going to look at a really powerful analogy that Professor Russell uses to make it all crystal clear. He calls it the gorilla in the room.
So, the gorilla problem is this idea about what happens when one species suddenly has to deal with another, much more capable species. And Russell's point is actually really simple, but it's profound. On this planet, the thing that gives you ultimate control is intelligence, period. Just think about it like this. Right now, gorillas, which are incredibly powerful animals, exist entirely at our mercy. Why? Because we're the more intelligent species. Their entire future depends on what we, the humans who control the planet, decide to do. And this is where that analogy gets truly terrifying. Because if we succeed in creating a super intelligent AGI, we become the gorillas. All of a sudden, our existence, our future, could depend entirely on this new, more intelligent entity. We would no longer be in control of our own world. That's the real risk.
Okay, so if the danger's that obvious, why don't we just stop? Well, that brings us to our third section and what Russell calls the Midas touch problem. It really gets to the core of these powerful forces that are just pulling us forward whether we like it or not.
You probably remember the old myth of King Midas, right? He makes a wish for everything he touches to turn to gold. Sounds great, but that wish turns into a curse. His food, his water, even his own daughter turns into a golden statue. And the lesson is pretty clear. He dies completely miserable because of a badly thought-out wish that was all about greed.
And believe it or not, this ancient story is a perfect parallel for AI today, in two really important ways. First, there's the greed. We're talking about the promise of literally trillions, maybe quadrillions of dollars. It's like this giant magnet pulling us towards AGI, even if it destroys us. And second, there's the problem of specification. It is insanely difficult to tell a superintelligence exactly what we want in a way that's foolproof. If we give it the wrong objective, even slightly, it could be catastrophic, just like Midas's wish.
Now, I know this all might sound like something out of a sci-fi movie, but the timeline we're looking at is shockingly short. So for our fourth section, let's look at just how close we are to what some are calling the point of no return.
Just look at these predictions. And these aren't from outsiders. These are the CEOs of the companies leading the charge. Dario Amodei from Anthropic thinks we could have something close to AGI as early as 2026. Jensen Huang, the CEO of NVIDIA, says maybe 5 years. Sam Altman from OpenAI says it's coming before 2030. We're not talking about some distant future. We're talking about the next few years.
And the money? The sheer scale of the money pouring into this is just mind-boggling. The Manhattan Project, which built the first atomic bomb, cost about $20 billion in today's money. The budget for AGI development for next year alone, it's estimated to be around $1 trillion. That is 50 times bigger. This isn't just another tech project. It is the single biggest technological push in all of human history by a massive margin.
So what a lot of these experts are really scared of is that all this money and all this effort could trigger something called an intelligence explosion. This is the idea of a fast takeoff. The moment an AI gets smart enough to start improving itself over and over, faster and faster, leaving human intelligence completely in the dust. And that's the moment we could lose control for good.
So, all of this leads to one final, ultimate question. A huge dilemma. Let's look at it through the eyes of Professor Russell himself. If you had the power to stop all of this right now, would you?
The question is simple, but it's incredibly stark. Imagine there's a button. You press it, and all AI progress, everywhere, stops forever. Do you press it? At first, Russell kind of hesitates. His answer is, not yet. I think there's still a decent chance. A decent chance that we can figure out the safety problem and get this right. You know, there's still that little flicker of hope. But then, when he's pushed to make a final choice, yes or no, press the button or let it all continue, his answer is just devastating. I'd probably press it. The man who literally wrote the textbook on AI would choose to end it all.
And that just leaves us in a really strange, unsettling place. The actual experts who are building this new future are so worried they're not even sure if they should be building it.